Dame Dash, happy to have you, my man. And before we get into anything, I gotta congratulate you. Your movie, Honor Up, it made it to BET, right?
Yeah, Honor Up, that came out of American New Studio. So I directed that, wrote that, put it in theaters with Lionsgate. And, recently I put it on my own streaming platform. And then recently, we played it on BET. And the next movie will be out January 10th, The Prince of Detroit. And that's another movie I produced and directed, made by us.
And I heard your American New York got like 100K downloads, right?
Yeah, we over that. Yeah, yesterday we hit over 100K. Um, you know, it's a pretty big deal to get people to do that, to download, to actually download. And we're independent, and you can ask any company, whether it's corporately funded or independent, what 100 downloads is and how hard it is to do that. And we did it completely independently, no budget for marketing, just straight direct connection with my consumer and my demographic. And I want to thank everybody for their support. So if you get 100,000, you get 1 million. But it's, to get the money is more about the engagement, how many people, not just how many people, but how many times someone clicks on and sees that pre-roll, that commercial. You know what I mean? This is programmatic. So, at some point, maybe I'll do branded ads, but right now the money is based on engagement.
100K downloads is a big deal, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you appreciating that. A lot of people, because they're not in the business or the game, they don't understand that. But this is a game not a lot of people know how to play.
What made you want to come out with a network?
Um, because I've become more of a creative and I make my own movies. I know how hard it is to make a movie on your own and then to get it distributed or to have it, where a lot of people can see it and you can monetize it. So, if you're independent in making it, you don't want to have to kiss somebody's ass to get it seen. But if nobody sees it, nobody's going to buy it. And, I'm creative in a lot of different verticals. So, like, for example, I designed this along with Afroletics. Like I told them what I wanted, and they made the graphics, and then we placed them, and I make the clothes I wear. So when you make a movie, people wear clothes. Like then I can make the clothes for the movie. I also make the music in the movie. So I'm a creative. Instead of doing or licensing music, I actually get in there. I got a band, and I also work with other artists, and we make the music for the movie. So I'm able to make a movie, do the fashion, make the music, and anything else that you see in the movie visually, it's a product that can be bought. I'm trying to be making every product you see. So while you're watching television or any content, if something inspires you, you could buy it right then and there. So that's been my model since about 2005, 2004. And I've literally had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. So if you look at the receipts, I had an internet television station or called Creative Control, and the headquarters was in an art gallery, DD 172 in Tribeca. And, I was the first cat with the 5 Ds. They gave them to us, Cootie and Shike. And we were putting out content on YouTube before YouTube had commercials. So I was just sitting back waiting. And if you even ask them, I'm like, yo, we'll just edit everything now. So when the world is ready, I can have it all done. And that's the reason why I have so much content, enough to have a television network about a lot of different things. So there's movies, there's culture, there's music, there's docuseries, there's scripted, there's everything. There's education. And also, we don't own any networks. So they may be black networks, but they're not black owned. So, and if 20% of a network doesn't mean it's black owned. It has to be majority owned black. So all the networks that you think are black are not. So we can't push a narrative. We can't do or push a message repetitively because people react to patterns. They react to what they see every day, all day. You understand what I'm saying? And if we wanted to push a candidate to be elected or a law to be passed, we have no network to push our agenda as creatives and independent minded people, you know? So I just want to know what it looks like to have that kind of power to break music, to break fashion, to break culture, to break education. Cause also there's children, there's Applefish on America New. And if you go to the kids section, it's like a whole nother channel with all things that help your child's cognitive skills, teach you how to understand things better. You know, there's therapy on the network. Basically, if you look at America New, you become a new person because it teaches you how to do things on your own at a very tasteful level. It teaches you not to hate other people because you don't have a dream. Because that's the reason why people hate people, because they don't have a dream and you do. So it teaches you to not hate other people because they have a dream, but actually have a dream to fight for that takes up so much of your time that you don't have time to think about somebody else or hate on what they're doing or even compare yourself to them. But you have to identify what your dream is. And if you surround yourself with people that don't have dreams, then your life will be a nightmare because energy is contagious. You know, when people laugh, you laugh. When somebody's mad, you mad. When someone's extra dumb, you become a little dumber if you're around that person, if their energy is stronger than yours. So for us, we're trying to make our energy so strong and push the right that becomes what gets implemented in everyone's everyday life. And that will change the future. There'll be a new, that's why we call it America New, because everything got to be new.
Yeah, that's dope. And I like the way you spelled the name too. So, America knew how you put E. Yeah, I like that, man. And speaking of movies, right? So you was behind all the movies at Rockefeller.
Yeah, every single thing that happened in Rockefeller was basically my idea. But yeah, homeboy did his job. He rapped.
How did state property come about?
Well, that's my model for music. If you want to break a record, I just looked at who was the most successful. So, whether you like it or not, Elvis was one of the most successful. And the same time Elvis was the number one rock and roll artist, he was the number one actor. You look at Prince, Purple Rain, right? You look at Diana Ross, she made movies. You know, the ones and the artists that you remember are the ones that made movies. That's how you break, any group. So Rockefeller, we broke with because we were in trouble until Streets is Watching. You know what I'm saying? Big trouble. And when State Property, I gave him the name State Property because they were always in jail. Every one of them except Freeway always had a case. So he's like, yo, we might as well just call y'all State Property. And it was about making a movie, and in the movie, putting all the crew in there, putting all the clothes. We it was based. It was inspired by things and true events that had actually happened, but then it got completely exaggerated and turned into straight fiction. Um, and then we made a soundtrack, and I put the way I looked at it was if because every artist had a budget, but if I could do one project and put all the artists on it wouldn't come out their budget. There would be a new budget. And whichever record from or single from that soundtrack kicked off, that would be the artist that would come out first. That would dictate, who we would put our attention on because you couldn't work all these different records at one time. It's just too much money on the street and not enough resources and not enough manpower. And what came out of that, I think, was Chris and Neef. Their single. Well, it was a bunch of stuff, but it was like a way I could make videos without taking it out of their budgets.
Wow. So the streets is watching was your idea.
Come on, bro. Yeah, of course. Yeah, what happened there was, and again, look at the receipts. For some reason, homeboy wanted to be, and I hate to say this now, but Puff was killing him, right? He was killing him is when Biggie died. And on another note, I was in the studio when Source Money wrote Every Step You Take because Puff started to try to pay the artist on Roc-A-Fella and State Property to come write for him, and I wouldn't let any of them go over there without me because I didn't want them to be influenced by whatever was going on over there. So I was like, I'm going over there. I would never let them go over there without me, and I would make sure I negotiated all their deals. So anyway, uh, Puff was rolling. I remember running into Mace right before he did that video with the red shiny suit on. And I'm teasing him like, yo, what are you doing with a red shiny suit on? And he was tight, like, man, Puff got me doing this. And I'm like, yo, what happened to Mace Mussolini? But that shit worked. So I guess, Jay wanted a Hype Williams video, and I wasn't jacking Paul's hype neither. I didn't want nothing to do with that shit. And Hype gave us a treatment that had Jay as a clown, literally a balloon. He had his nose as a balloon and he pops it, right? And I was like, yo, he's trying to pause, give us the banana in the tailpipe. But Jay was like, nah, that's what everybody doing. That's what we got to do. All right. So we do it. It's called Sunshine, and we got these suits on. And what was up about it was I was like spoofing them. Like I was like, oh, it was like a spoof. And everyone took it serious because we had suits and they roasted us for that video. I'm talking about everything was on the line. Leor said he wasn't fucking with us no more. I was going to give him his money back that they had advanced us so we could go be independent again. And instead, I decided to make a movie about the B-sides, the tough because I like the B-sides. I hate singles because I don't want to hear everything that everyone else is listening to. I like to be different. So I like when you get in my car for you to hear some fly that you never heard before because I'm Dame Dash. I should never be playing something that you heard before. You should be hearing some bubonic when you get in the car with me if I'm Dame Dash. And I've gotten in the car with Kanye and everybody else and always be like, yeah, it's always something they didn't hear. And the reason why is because I keep a lot of eclectic people around me. But anyway, that's another story. But because of that video, that was the reason why we did Streets is Watching. And that's what took us off, was Streets is Watching. But yeah, every single movie, every single idea, Rockware, any other vertical that came from Paul's Roc-A-Fella was completely my idea. And I dare somebody to say it wasn't. I could say that with full confidence.
Yeah, that Streets is Watching was classic, man. I remember being a kid and my uncles, they had that on repeat, like nonstop. They just kept playing that over and over, man.
When we made it, the way I looked at it was we had just got, all of us had screens. No. Jay had screens in his Lexus. I didn't have screens in mine. Did I? I can't remember. But, that was when everybody was putting screens in the headrest, but you needed something to play. So I was like, yo, it'll be like a visual album. So while it's playing, you can watch it, you can hear it. And I've always made visual albums from then on, you know? But yeah, that was completely my idea.
Yeah, that shit was hard, man. That friend of foe, imaginary player. Yeah, I gotta release that in HD, man. Like the versions that's online is bad quality.
I know. It's me. I got it. You know what it is sometimes revisiting, I'd be so into the new stuff. But you're right. I'll deal with all that. I'll deal with it.
Gotta ask you, right? I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but is that a pause button?
Yeah. Pause. I get sick of saying it. So, now we made some pause buttons.
Right. Yeah, you gotta put them on sale, man. You missing out on money. But I gotta ask you, Paid in Full, how did that movie come about? And I know Nas, he auditioned for that movie, right? Why he didn't get the role?
Because he's from Queens. That wouldn't have made no sense. Jay knew better than to read for that part. Like that wasn't gonna ever work out. He could have played someone from Queens, but Cam, he tried out for the part Cam played. You know what I mean? It would have been crazy. But also, he's not he's very he's not very outgoing. Nas. He's more introverted. So the role wasn't none of those roles for. He's too cool for. He could play like Kevin Childs or something, but those guys were loud, so he couldn't have played those roles. But we definitely watched. I remember us all watching him reading. A lot of people read for that role. A lot of people. I can't even remember how many, but a lot of people read for that role or to be in that movie. I forgot. There's a couple of people that read for it. A couple people. But I don't want to say the wrong names. They're like, I just remember it was a couple of people. So whoever read for it, let me know so I can remember. Maybe I can find your what you call it.
Looking back at it now, did you ever think that movie would be iconic?
For sure. There was no way it wasn't. I made it. I don't think anything I do is not going to be iconic years later. I don't do it unless I think it's going to be historic. Like I'm only trying to put my time into the sure thing at that level. Like I'll help people and try to help them make their dreams come true and I'll be inspired. But anything I do that I'm focused on, that's like something I want, it's got like, that's why I'm still here, is because it wasn't like a one trick pony. I did a lot of different things in a lot of different verticals, from fashion to movies to music. I'm like the Discovery Channel. I discover like I did rock and roll with the Black Keys, before anybody knew who they was. I'm usually there first, just because I'm always looking for new fly. You know what I mean? That's just like, that's just how I feel.
Yeah, that album you got with Black Keys, yeah, that's a dope ass album, man. But speaking of Cam, how did it come about him signing the Roc-A-Fella?
I mean, I was managing Cam, Mace, and Bloodshed and Big L as a group called the Children of the Corn. This is before any of us really, I mean, like Big L at that point was doing the most. He had a deal. And, Cam used to be around me a lot. He was the young fly guy because he was playing ball. He had won, like at 15, he won MVP at the Rucker. And, I was a little older than him and I was getting more money than most kids my age, put it like that. And his aunt lived in 1199, or someone related to him by Bloodshed, his cousin Bloodshed. He lived in D building. I lived in B building. So I would see Cam downtown, and I would also see him because I was on 142nd. He was on 139th and 40th. So I would see him uptown. And, so we had that kind of pause, kind of connection. And then he went, so I was either way, so when I was moving Jay around, Pause, and the original Flavor, I was also trying to do things with Children of the Corn, you know. But for some reason, I forgot what happened, and we went our different ways, and he ended up with Un, and then we were kind of like we fell out for a minute, and I remember, I'd seen Cam and the Dipset, and they was with Un, and they were rehearsing, and I think they had this record called F You, and they were rehearsing, and it was like they were rehearsing, and I just happened to be there. A lot went on that night. I ain't gonna hold you, but they were rehearsing. They were all going F you, and they were like doing it to me. Like, and I was pissed the fuck off. Like, yo, let me talk to y'all. So I took him and Jim to the side, and I was like, yo, because he was with Un, and them niggas was from Brooklyn, and I'm like, yo, I don't give a if we beefing or whatever. We from Harlem. We always got to stick together. Don't ever disrespect me in front of anybody. Like, we always got to be good money. It was a real serious conversation. And then I didn't see him for a while, and some other shit happened that night was crazy. I got into it with Un or some shit, and everybody had to come down. It was crazy. But anyway, um, um, you know, years later, I think my man Rel called me because Rel's from the block and put me on the phone with Cam. And Cam, I was like, yo, what up? Because I wasn't ever gonna like turned my back on him. I guess things were going sideways with Un. And I said, come over here. But first I had to get him off his deal. So, I went in there. Her name was Polly Anthony, I think her name was. Polly Anthony. She was running shit at the time. And then there was this other A&R, and Cam and them linked on him heavy. Either way, we got him off Sony. I got MOP off Sony too, or helped strategically. And, I brought him over to Roc-A-Fella from there. I mean, for me, anybody that I fucked with could come to Roc-A-Fella if they respected, the art. So that's why Big L was on his way to Roc-A-Fella. Like once I had the plug, pause. Like once we were on, I was trying to look out for everybody, to be honest.
So that was a real thing then. Big L signing to Roc-A-Fella.
Yeah, it's not a rumor. That's a fact. I hadn't spoke to Jay about it yet, but I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? That once I say I'm doing it, I'm doing it. So it was just a matter of us getting it. That would be the thing, is I always had to have sign off from all three of them, and this dude would be gone. So I had to do things different. But yeah, Big L, he was definitely. He was gonna be a Roc-A-Fella.
You think Jay would have been down with that?
I mean, he wasn't down with Kanye. He wasn't down with N.O.R.E. He wasn't down with Dipset. He wasn't down with a lot of shit. But at the time, because I had Biggs, it didn't matter what he thought, because it would always be 2-1, and Biggs would always rock with me. It's not like that now. But that was where, and now that I think about it, that's why he wanted to get rid of Biggs. Damn, I can't believe I never thought about that. It was because of the voting power. In all these years, I never thought about that. Damn. That's why he wanted to get rid of Big.
You think Big L signing with y'all would have took him to the next level?
Anyone that signed to Roc-A-Fella went to that next level. That was the algorithm. Algorithm wasn't even a word at that time, but the behavior pattern, the pattern was just based on, I had too many, there's no way, because I had the thing is, when my block is clicking, I let people put their work on my block, and our block was clicking. And Big L was like, regardless to what, he was good. I'd have had him with the right producers. I would have had him with the right publicists. I would have been able to pay for co-ops. I would have been able to make sure that, he did his promo tours correctly. I would have been able to make sure he was surrounded by the right people. That's what I did with everybody. I'd have been able to make a movie. That was my thing, Every crew that came through made a movie, and he would have came through with a crew. And then him with like Dips, oh my God, it would have been crazy. Him with MOP, like even Graph, Graph is still rolling now. Like the guys that I had, the whole second phase of Roc-A-Fella set up. Like Cam, MOP, State Property, Joe Buttons, N.O.R.E. I had all of that set up. Like Roc-A-Fella wasn't going nowhere. And I was doing that from Rockware office. You know what I'm saying? And bringing the rock and roll and all that. Like if Roc-A-Fella wouldn't have got dismantled, it would, that's the only thing that's sad about it, is it didn't get to realize its full potential. We were just getting started.
And speaking of Big L, him and Jay had a battle, right?
They battled on 139th Street with me. Yeah, that happened.
How did that turn out?
It was a good tie. In that moment, I would say Jay won, because he had to go on Big L's block and survive. But we went on Big L, but he went with me. You know what I mean? So Sean Arnold was like, "You think Jay's on?" Because they used to tease Jay every day in Harlem, all day long. They thought he was the class clown. They used to cut him up all day, until he blew up. And Steve Mack act like, he was doing that because he was with me. But I don't care what his reasons was. They gave me hell over that guy. So when he would pull up, that's why we used to have to battle all the time. Because I'd be like, my man will bust your ass, pause. And he came to Harlem, and Sean Arnold came up and was like, "Yo, Big L's over there right now." I'm like, "Whatever, let's go." And we went over there. But again, it wasn't ever like a tough thing, because we were all family. That was really my neighborhood. Even though I was from 1199, I still consider dudes over there family.
Yeah, I seen something online about how Joe Budden he never got a Rockefeller chain. I had no idea he was on Rockefeller.
Yeah, because I wasn't allowed to do my big one, pause. But he didn't put out an album with us. So to get a Rockefeller chain, you had to put out an album. So once you put out an album, that's when I would give you a chain. Like I wouldn't give you a chain. Sparks and Oskino never got chains either because they never put an album out. Big Face was telling me Sparks had brought that up the other day.
Yeah, I heard Jay he didn't want to sign off on Joe album.
He didn't want no parts of that shit.
What was his issue with him?
What was his issue with everybody, bro? He always had an issue. I don't know. Jay was retiring since Reasonable Doubt. He wanted to get the fuck away from us since Reasonable Doubt. Like when I see everything, I'm like, why else would he retire every, year, and would not retire? So it was always a problem, with anything that kind of like had the potential to be another anchor for us, where we didn't have to depend on him. He didn't want none of that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. That would have been a dope move too. Him being on Rockefeller.
Now, I like that anytime that someone tried to lyrically battle him, that he would step right back. Like Joe Buttons could rap back then. I don't know what he's doing now, but back then he could rap. And also, like he was like on. So what was happening was anyone that was kind of on Def Jam, that was getting neglected. Like Joe Budden, I think was on Def Jam, and so was N.O.R.E, and they were shitting on them. So I'd be like, "Yo, just come with us." You know what I mean? Like, Twister was supposed to be a Roc-A-Fella. I gave him a chain, I think. But Craig Coleman was hating, and Kanye fucked that deal up. Common Sense was supposed to be a fucking Roc-A-Fella. John Legend was supposed to be a Roc-A-Fella. Like I toured John Legend. Like I would have never took John Legend on the road with Kanye and paid for him to go around the world to sing before Kanye sang, unless I thought that he was going to sign with Roc-A-Fella. He did some sneaky shit and went to Sony. But we broke John Legend's career as well.
Right, right. And speaking of Dipset, in real time, did you know anything about the tension between Dipset and Jay?
Yeah, you're kidding? I was refereeing it. I was refereeing it. I was trying to keep everybody cool. So I'd tell Jay, like, yo, why you keep fucking with him? He's young. Like, what's the problem? So Jay would be, all right, cool. And then go on the radio and say, yeah, Cam is a good earner. And then Cam would be like, why you got to call me an earner? You know what I'm saying? I don't know why he called you an earner. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. So I don't know why Jay ever had a thing with Cam. He always had a thing like that. He had a thing with everybody, bro. Pause.
And that H to the Izzo beat was supposed to be Cam's, right?
I didn't know that was the case because I know I remember I don't remember that, but maybe I don't see Kanye. Kanye wasn't just giving shit, like the beats that Cam got, like oh boy, he took that shit. It wasn't like it was given to him. It was just like, oh, this is here, I'm taking this, and I wasn't even mad at it because it was acting funny. I produced Kanye's first record that was on the radio. We Are the Champions on my album, The Dream Team. So I produced that with Kanye. And the reason why he got that beat was because I gave it the sample to Just Blaze to flip. And he would disrespecting me and just ignoring me. And Kanye was like, I'll do it. And then when he did it, I said, because you did it, jump on it. Paul. And then Cam jumped on it and fucking Beanie. It was dope. I think young Chris.
What was the deal with Kanye? Like, why wasn't anybody supporting him as a rapper outside of you?
Because he, like we looked at him, like I never looked at Kanye as a rapper. And Kanye always looked at himself, which is not a bad thing, but he always thought he was bigger than everyone else thought he was until he got there. So no one really took him serious as a rapper. And again, I took him serious as someone that can do an album, make beats, and at least everybody from Roc-A-Fella could jump on the album. So you're gonna get Jay, you're gonna get Cam, all of that. Everyone he made a beat for should do a record for him. But I never looked at him as a rapper. And then when he started rapping, after he broke his jaw, that's when it was like, damn, he's the best producer that could rap. Like how Dre could rap. Like you don't look at Dr. Dre as a rapper, you look at him as a producer. Me knowing Kanye, it'll be like Just Blaze starting to rap. I knew them first as producers. It's really hard for me to unsee people the way I first saw them. That's why I like certain people, no matter what they do, how much money they make, I still see them as that same person. And that could be the default. But it's hard to like unsee what you first saw. The reason why like if you look at the movie, the reason why he was like the contracts took so long is because Jay would not sign off on them. So that was the problem. But again, if I were to tell Kanye, yo, Jay won't sign off on your then he would have like jumped off he would have took it too hard. So I could never really say when it was always me like having to be like, make excuses because things had to move slower because we always had to wait for Homeboy to give his one signature because he always knew that Biggs was going to rock out with me. So he just would torture us to get shit done if it wasn't about him. Now his budgets, they got signed off on very fast. To be honest, there was a time like I had took Kanye's chain off his neck because he was driving me nuts. So when that had happened, he was already like, I had dropped Kanye from Roc-A-Fella. I dropped Kanye. So at that point, I was done with them. I was ready to go do my own thing. I gave people out of respect the opportunity, like, yo, there's Dame Dash. I forgot what the name of the record is, Dash Records or whatever. So I was like, y'all can go over there if they won't with you. But like, really, I'm done with this music shit. Like, I was done. I was burnt out. Everybody was corny to me. Everybody was weird to me. Everybody was manipulative and exploitive. And it just smelled like bad breath. And it still does. Like you walk into a room and you just could, I just got sick of smelling hot paws, bad stink, demon breath. I didn't want to smell that no more. I didn't want to be around it. I was done. Like I was done, man. I just done it for 15 years. So I didn't want to do that shit no more. I wanted to do fashion. So how did I feel? I didn't feel, I wasn't even thinking about it. I just was like, let me go get this Rachel Roy off the ground and turn that into $100 million company, which I did, that nobody talks about.
What made you take his chain?
Because two things. Beans was getting ready. We thought he was going to go to jail for a couple of years. He was on trial. So I was trying to make 4 albums for him or 5 so that if he went to jail, because every time if you sold 500,000 records, I could give you $1 million advance. So if I already have 5 albums that each went gold, while he was in jail, I could always make sure he had 500 grand. So I was just trying to get it all done. And Kanye wouldn't give him any beats. That was one reason. And the other reason why is I had spent like 500,000-600,000 with Rockware's money developing his line Pastel. I still got the samples. And all of a sudden he was like, I don't like him no more. And he was just starting to Kanye out. And that was it. I was done. So I was like, man, you got to get out. I was tight. So I had the chain, you know what I mean? And people, my inner crew talks about that. Like, damn, you dropped Kanye. I'm like, I don't give a f. I had done so much to fight for him, it was like, what more can I do? So I just felt like I can't be arguing. I don't care how many records you sell. And that was before that was like when he first got hot. I was more bothered when Beans chose to go with Jay. That one hurt. Because I'd done a lot and prepared. I chose State Property over Rockware, and I wanted to just roll out with State Property. But it almost like he tricked Beans to shelf him, and he fucked his life up to me doing that. But I had him, you know what I mean? Like, that was my new Jay. Like, I looked at them like NWA, and I liked the clothes better than Rockware. They had Beans trying to, like, I forgot this. I hate when I forget people's names, but the person that was like my partner in doing the licensing for State Property, because sales was telling them that, Rockway was doing this, that, and the third, that State Property should be more like Rockware as opposed to being more like Dickies and Carhartt, which is the way I designed it. and they started signing off on behind my back. It was like, I bet wrong on that one. That might be something I would have done different.
So you feel like if Beans would have went with you instead of Jay, his career would have been bigger?
What? It's not even the shit I had planned for them. He fucked his own self up for that one. Like I had the movies, right? I had the clothing line. The clothing line was doing 20 million a year. You know, so we had the movies, the touring, the clothing line. You gotta remember, like I activated all of those things. You know, like I was making beans when I was talking to Cam about being the vice president, talking to him. I was also talking to Beans. I was making both of them vice presidents because they had labels. I was the one that was strategically growing and planting seeds, pause, to grow their businesses, whether they knew it or not. Whether they knew it was in their best interest or not, I was still doing it. So I made sure everybody had their own movie. Everybody had their own clothing line. Remember, Cam had a fragrance. Yeah, old boy of fragrance. I did that back then.
Yeah, I remember that.
Could you imagine if that would have stayed, if they wouldn't have fucked that up? You know, nobody wants to listen to me of it.
Yeah, that would have been epic, man. Because I always heard that you was gonna make Cam one of the presidents of Roc-A-Fella. So
Vice president. It just meant that you had your own label. That's all it meant. That's all. And same thing with, but you don't hear about Beans. You know why? Because Cam went and made a fucking announcement on the radio before it even got done. And then after he made the announcement, I remember him being like, telling me what he wanted his salary to be. And I was just like, forget the whole thing. Everybody's crazy. Like, you should have heard that phone call, boy, with all the artists worried about it. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all worried about? That was what made me know to get the fuck out of there, to be honest. How everyone was acting over that. And it was so stupid to me. Still is. Even like Homeboy was bugging. Like, he called from a yacht and was saying wherever he was at. And it was like no one had spoke to him in months, but he got on the phone for that one. Him, Beans was like mad. And I'm like, why are you mad? You a vice president too. Bleek is like, I gotta ask him for my budget for my video. Like, who the fuck said you had to do that? Like, no one said that. So at that point, I was like, yo, forget it, man. Don't worry about
yeah, they overreacted.
it. There was no reason for it. It was like, it was just no reason for it. It was stupid. We're grown men. We supposed to be gangsters. Like, I was like, I thought we was different.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Jay, he called you mad when the news broke.
Had a group call. Like, I mean, ask them about it at some point. Like, Beans was on the call, Bleek was on the call, like everybody was on this call. I was like, what the I was like, everybody's crazy. I'm done.
Yeah, that's wild, man. But speaking of Hype Williams, you brought him up earlier. But before we get to him, how did you meet Aaliyah?
We like officially met when I was like trying to get with her at Barry Clyburg's office. At the time, my bookkeeper, she was a client. When I first met her, she was like a kid to me, so I never paid her no mind. And I seen her like a basketball game once. And I was just like, what up? But I didn't, she was a kid to me. So like I wasn't like listening to her music like that or any of that. I kind of met her as like, I didn't even know it was Aaliyah when I saw her. I was like, who the fuck is that? She just looked mad good. That you know that picture that everybody puts up and it's like a Puff's party and we're all on the bed and all that other shit, pause. But like the big pictures, that's the night that we made it happen. So that's where I left and that's where my life changed dramatically. Yeah. That day, not, that's when it happened. I was, like I said, me and Homeboy was both getting at her. It was like one of us is gonna win. And I won.
So Jay, he was trying to get at her too.
Yeah, everybody knows that. He was going hard. It was Aaliyah. Everybody was going at Aaliyah. That's why it hurt so much when I was the one that got to get with her. But I wasn't even thinking I was gonna fall in love. But she just was too ill. She's too cool.
Was he feeling the type of way when you made it official with her?
Yeah, but I don't want to do that to him, bro. Obviously, you see you see what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would say so. His friends get with him.
Right, right. So what I do want to ask you about Aaliyah, what was the situation with Hype Williams where, he took her plane and she had to take the plane that he was using? Like, what happened with that?
No, no, no. She was in Miami, and the video was supposed to be in Miami. And I had told her, I was like, Hype does this thing where he'll act like he needs more days just so he can get paid more. And don't let him do that. And then, all of a sudden she comes back and was like, he wants to go to the Bahamas. I was like, I told you he was going to do that. And um, what I had heard was that, what I was told was she was supposed to be on Lenny Kravitz's jet, but like he offered it to her. And you could ask Lenny Kravitz, I guess. And and Hype took it and had her on that plane. But he had to like pattern like when we did um when we did Big Pimpin', like we're in hotels and he's in a house with a chef throwing dinners on our dime. And I'm like, well, why are we in a hotel and this thing got his own house with a chef and we're paying for it? And that's why I cut Big Pimpin'. So I was like, I knew his tricks on what he used to do and how he used to play the labels. So I cut the video like, we going back to Miami. So I knew that he was going to try that same play with her, and he did. And then, if utilized for him as far as making, himself more comfortable than the artist on the artist's dime, I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, man.
Yeah, it is. Somebody should ask him about it.
Yeah, they should. I mean, she'll still be here if she was on the plane she was supposed to be on.
I said a lot of things years ago, and they all realized themselves later. But the things that I found appalling for some reason 10 years ago, no one found them appalling when they were happening. It took for everyone to get busted for people to find it appalling. But no one ever says when they don't have to, because nobody really, really gives a. I've seen that firsthand. But once it becomes popular opinion, that's when everybody's appalled. That's when they pay attention. That's when Dame was right again. But wrong in the moment, overreacting in the moment, but 10 years later, I was dead right. It's again, another behavior pattern, a human trait that I don't even judge people for anymore.
Why didn't Bleak take over Rockefeller? And the reason why I'm asking is because I remember he opened up Volume 2. He was on the intro, and it was a rumor around that album that that was Jay's final album. So it looked like Jay had it all laid out for him to blow up.
I mean, I don't think Bleak wanted to take over. I don't think he had the ability to, Jay was writing a lot of his rhymes. So if Jay retired, that meant he was out of business as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that, Jay couldn't. If he's still making records, Jay can't retire. Jay was writing his record. Ask Bleak about it. But that was like Bleak. Put it like this: I could understand Bleak's loyalty to Jay because he had Jay as a ghostwriter. But like Bleak was like someone that I had to like. I remember with Bleak, he was supposed like to get on the first side, the A side of a Clue record was a big deal, and we got him real estate on a Clue record, A side privilege, and he was like, I didn't feel like writing a rap or couldn't at the time, and I had to make the decision to bench him. You know what I'm saying? Like I made the decision, like he could sit down because I'm not putting our money into that. He's not gonna fight. I'm not fighting harder for him than he fights for himself. So there's always been like I've always had to push Bleak to put an album out, or you know, it's like I don't know. I personally think I wanted more for Bleak than Bleak wanted for himself. Like I would argue with him about, yo, do your own show and do your own. That was our argument. This is what we was always arguing about. It's like stop depending on this dude to do everything for you. You got to do it on your own. Like you don't want to be 40 years old just doing interviews talking about him all day as a business model and you're still working like you still got to move when he say so. That's not what I would consider my the perfect life that I would want to work toward. And he had the like I took Bleak to Europe with me. You know what I'm saying? Like so he could. I always wanted Bleak to do well. I consider him a little brother. I love him to death. Pause. I love him all. I ain't got no problems with Bleak. But back then, I wish that he wanted it. I don't think he wanted. He definitely didn't want to take over Roc-A-Fella. That's not what he wanted. It's too much responsibility.
So you was trying to help him be more independent. You wasn't trying to get him away from Jay.
No, I never tried. That wasn't what I was doing. I was like, yo, stop performing in his show. I was like, open up for him and do your own show. You understand what I mean? I was like, you don't have to always be up under this. You know what I'm saying? Like you could do it. I wanted him to do it on his own. I wanted like how 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 Cam had Dipset and Beanie had um State Property. He was supposed to have, I think, Get Low, but ask Get Low about what happened. It wasn't my fault, but I was ready to make him a vice president. He just had to get his label together. He just, couldn't do it for himself. How you gonna do it for somebody else?
Right, right. Yeah, I had no idea that Jay was writing for him.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but he been talking about me lately, so I didn't care. I didn't think it was a secret, but if he has the nerve to talk about my business, then I don't have a problem, not to say like tit for tat. I didn't know that I couldn't remember. I remember when I said it, I was like, I wonder if that was still a secret. I just thought everybody knew. But I felt like he was so comfortable saying that he must know, everybody must know, because he was saying certain things like I had no motion or something. I couldn't believe he did that. He says things sometimes that bug me out. But again, you know, it's like I could tell when somebody's telling him to say stuff because I know Bleak. But this is also somebody that I saved. Like he was getting robbed by his own people. They had his publishing. They had his um. Damn, they had his publishing. It's the watch. Okay, they had his publishing, and I'm the one that wouldn't sign him until I got him accountants. I got him lawyers. Like I think I did more than anybody for Bleak as far as making sure he got treated correctly. Like he was down to get treated any way they wanted to treat him. He wasn't fighting to protect his publishing and the things he was doing. I guess he wasn't writing anyway. But I was the one that was like, I'm not even going to sign you until you have all your shit together. And you could revert back to hearing him say that because it's all I did that for all my artists. I made sure all their shit was right, or all the artists I work with.
Whatever happened to Emil? It's like she disappeared out of nowhere, man.
She did. She after we dropped her, she didn't do anything else. That's how you could tell, and no disrespect to Emil, but that means that if you can't make it without me at all, that it was all gonna be, you know what I mean? Like I wish she would have appreciated that moment a little better because she didn't realize the work it was gonna take for me and us to get her where she had to go. I feel like Jay had Beyonce in her first video. He the writer directed her first video. Like she had enough to go. It was on her. She was in the steering wheel. You know what I mean? It's like if you have to ask what happened to that person, you have to ask that person what happened to that person because it's their fault. It can never be nobody else's fault. Like you niggas is against me and fucking with me all day, but you still know what I'm doing. You still see me out here being, with motion and doing different things, different verticals. It's just independent. And a lot of sucker dumb just be like wondering, like every dollar they be looking at my pockets and shit. Like who the wants other dudes looking at their pockets all day? That's like a nightmare
Why y'all release her?
because she wasn't doing what I was asking her to do. And I'm like, Jay, this is you. You said you're doing all this. I'm not doing this. And he didn't do it. So we had to drop her. Like he made a commitment to executive produce and see her through. And he decided not to, do that shit. And it was like, I'm not taking care of your child. You know what I'm saying? Like it's your child. You know what I mean? Like you decide to do it this way, then you gotta handle that. But you can't leave her with me because we gonna be arguing all day. And I'm not fighting. I'm not like I remember like I was like, she was starting to gain some weight. And I was like, yo, you gotta go work out. And she was like, I got to get her a car to take her, pay for her. But I'm like, I have to do these things for you to go take care of yourself. Like, why? Like, I'm not even gonna get no money off this shit. And I was done. But she was great. I ain't mad at her. I'm getting no beef with her. I would have loved to have seen her go and hit her, realize her potential without us. Nobody ever stopped her.
And speaking of Bleak, he's the one that started the beef between Jay and Nas, right? According to him.
I don't know. I don't know. That one I don't know about that one. I can't see Jay. Jay never got too mad over anything that happened to Bleak. Or like shit used to happen to him sometimes. Like it might take a chain here and there.
Bleak chain was getting taken?
Yeah, it could caught him. But I'm not gonna do that to him. I'll let him tell that story.
Crazy, man. And I remember back then you made a comment that, Jay, he should have retired out the blueprint. What made you say that?
I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't really. I honestly like unless he's fucking my money up. I don't give a fuck what Jay's doing, to be honest. But when he's fucking with my money, that's when I be like, you know what I'm saying? Like enough is enough. You know what I'm saying? Like I already walked away from the block. Leave me the fuck alone. But I don't. Only like what's going on now is like interesting to know what's gonna happen and shit. Like everyone's interested. But other than that, I never really cared what he was doing. I really don't.
How is he messing up your money?
Like if I'm trying to sell something, him and his lawyers, Alex Shapiro, putting a false lawsuit on me, like, shit like that, devaluing anything that I have or trying to sell. But or even down to like, we were selling Rockware, right, for like 400 million or whatever. I was gonna make $40 million, and right before Tommy Hilfiger signs the papers, he makes an announcement saying that he's not fucking with Rockware, that he's only fucking with S. Carter. The whole shit up. And I just feel like he did that only because I was going to make $40 million. Like he just couldn't see. Like they get so mad if I'm gonna make money off them. Like every time I could have made a really big check, he's always stepped in and intentionally fucked it up. Every time. Listen, don't ask me. Ask the rest of the industry. Like that's why I got the fuck away. I mean, one of the reasons. Like Jay, I like the way I would look at it, like if you could compare him to like a character now, I'd say he's like the Penguin. He's like ruthless like that with his friends or people that help him. At least that's how it kind of rolled out. But again, I don't want to talk about this all day because all they're gonna say is, you keep talking about it. Like, now you asking me questions about it. You know what I'm saying? So, what I need you to say is, I asked Damon questions about Jay-Z. Don't just put up Dame shits on Jay-Z or shits on them. You got to say, I asked this question and he answered it, but he did not just out the blue start talking about Jay. And we talked about things, other things for an hour. Just for me, they have this. I don't think people say it. I think they're bots because everybody's been talking about this dude. I'm just not the only one. I'm the only one. If I say something, it's crazy, but I don't be wanting to hear it all day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll tell the truth, but the way people usually end up putting things out is they make it like I just volunteered to start talking about it. But people are really asking me questions about them. So the question I be wanting to know is, if everybody doesn't want to hear me talk about Jay, why the fuck do people keep asking me questions about it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a setup for me for people to be saying, "Oh, he's talking about Jay again," and you know that. So I don't mind, but just make sure that's clear that you are asking me those questions. You know what I'm saying? Like when they posted up, no, Dame wasn't talking about Jay. I just asked him these questions, but he talked about a lot of other shit. I just asked him questions about his history. But it seems like it's a setup for people to be like, "Oh, you're always talking about him." I'm like, nobody cares about him, man. They just keep asking me questions.
But why would he want to stop your money?
Gotta ask him. I have no idea. I think just people just be salty because I'm just happy, and they're not. That's what I be thinking. He's not the only one though. There's Steve Stout, there's Leo Cohen. There's a lot of them collectively that are like, we got to shut Dame down and we got to do anything we can. Unsaid it in the Vlad interview. And look at Vlad. Like, why is Vlad so butthurt? Like, on some level, I'm just starting to, no disrespect to gay people. I'm just starting to think he's gay. I thought because he was a Fed, but it's like when a man is too petty and does things that seems like something that like scarred girls should be doing, I just be like, they must be gay. Cause it's just gay. You know what I'm saying? Unless he's getting paid like Vlad to talk about me in every interview, talk about my money, talk about my pockets, talk about everything. Unless someone's paying him to do that, or unless he has some intent, and I don't want this to be the case, but I think he's the police. But unless it's just gay. That's my thing. Everybody that acts like that is just gay. No disrespect to gay people. I just feel like if you're gonna be gay, you should tell people you're gay, so they can know how to deal with you. But don't act like you're not, and then be doing gay shit.
How you feel about what Jay-Z is being accused of?
Terrible accusation. I think what's iller is how people are reacting to the accusation. Like they putting them through the ringer. And I've never seen them do that before. So that's the thing. Like usually things get brushed under the rug with him. And I've been accused of shit that I haven't done before. And people don't scrutinize that I didn't get as scrutinized as he's getting. So I'm like, why they it's just odd to see him in that, in that getting looked at in that way by white people, you know. Like Jay does, you know, yeah. Like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real. Like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media. Like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him. But like, you know, drink champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne, because those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now, because they on his head. But the question is why? Like why now? You know, because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. You're not gonna win. Let's get a deposition or something. You know. So I don't know why they on his head so much. Pause. But I never seen him. Under this. I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, for me, I like, you see, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him if he is innocent. He needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side of the story, as opposed to letting that lawyer talk. Because that lawyer, I don't trust that lawyer because I went to court with him. So to me, everything that guy says is, allegedly a lie, just based on my experience with going to court with him. I don't trust the Alex Shapiro dude. He's ill. He's an ill dude. He'll say anything. Like he crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have him talking for me. If he wants, I'm not gonna sit there and say nothing bad or good or defend or anything because it'll all play itself out. I just think it's kind of ill that they're on his head like that. And if he's, he should probably come out and say something. Like I believe right now, everybody needs to be transparent. Like back in the day, not saying something could have been like the wave, but that was before social media. So now that there's social media and transparency, if you got an issue, you don't let people speak for you. You should speak for yourself. Let people ask you questions and, go from there. That's what I would do.
So you don't think it was a good idea for his lawyer to speak for him?
Mhm. It's been too many things said for too long. So I'd be like, yo, again, I'm telling you what I did. So I got accused of a sexual assault. I went through a full trial. The first thing I did is I made my statement. And then I went and did an interview. You know, that's what I did. And I went to trial. It didn't affect me. Like I can't say it didn't completely affect me, but what I could say is they didn't do that shit they doing to him to me. And then when I won the trial, no one said a word. Saying that, it's hard. Like I don't think I would have said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I never seen him get, I never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, "Why'd you say that?" He was like, "I had to." You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words. Don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know, until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me.
Yeah, you right. I mean, Jay hasn't said a word.
That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So that what else is a lawyer gonna say? You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. But speaking of his lawyer, what did he do to you personally?
Alex Shapiro, he's the one. I'm gonna tell you what he did. I could tell you this is not allegedly. First of all, he works for Jay personally, as we see. He represented Roc-A-Fella Inc. for Jay, for Roc-A-Fella Inc. And they made that phony case against me saying that I was trying to sell the whole thing. Remember we went to court? That's when I started speaking about him again, because he was like, "Now you taking me to court, you lying." It was a straight lie. And the only purpose of it was to illegally change bylaws so that it prohibited me from selling my interest unless they all agreed to it. And then the way they had the meetings, he was the one at the meeting changing the bylaws, speaking and talking in such a disrespectful way. Like he ran Roc-A-Fella or some shit. So, and then the comments that he's made, like Jay getting his master's back in certain years, like every single game that he played with me was a lie. Like he lied a lot. Like it was a straight lie. And then they was harassing me with the lawsuits, sending me all type of papers and shit. And I just didn't give a because I knew I was like you see, look at the way that no one ever talks about the fact that they just dismissed the case. Nah, he's an ill nigga. That's what I'm saying. He's like he does whatever, says whatever, he does whatever. He doesn't play. I'm saying he's the real deal. Those two going against each other will be very interesting. Like his lawyers, and I had to go up against like Trump's lawyers. Um, when I was going back and forth with my ex-wife, because she's cool with them, and they use their lawyer. I used them for me. I mean, for the company, and they used them against me. Relentless, bro. Like certain lawyers just do not stop. They just go like you got to have a deep pocket. Like if you really in business, you got to have a war chest. You got to have a man or two at least for legal to just annihilate people, to go be able to hire private investigators, to be able to do all those things. You got to have some bread. That's what Byron Allen does. He puts millions on he puts a $1 billion lawsuit will cost like $1 million, $2 million. So when I'm talking to people that do that, they be like, "Yo, you always gotta have a couple million for legal." And I'm like, "Well, I don't have a couple million for legal." So that's why I be getting my ass kicked a lot. Pause, because I don't have the legal capabilities everybody do. But the ass kicking be whack. It's like under $1 million worth of ass kicking. Pause.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I gotta ask you, in real time, what was your reaction when Pac started dissing y'all?
We was ready to get at it. We kind of want, it was like, let's go. Like we would beef. We had like beef, pause, or some kind of interaction aggressively with damn near every crew in hip hop at some point or another. But in that moment, we thought we were invincible. I know I did. So I was, it was like, we getting at him. So we did You know, he made the record. It was immediate. Like it was on. You know, like we were the only ones that would even get next to Big E when they were really beefing. That's why he was in our videos for a little while, like Ain't No Name and Dead Presidents. You know, because we were like, I just honestly, I always thought like rap. I had in my brain, I never thought people would die over lyrics or just talking. I just thought that was the most least gangster shit of all time. So when people were getting killed over rap, when it happened, it was like I just never I didn't take it as serious as everybody else did. I would never like get to like risking my freedom or taking somebody's life or really hurting somebody like over talk, not action. Like if in no way nothing like really ever happened but talk. And when it came to us, so he just said what he wanted to say. Like it's not like nobody was trying to kill him or nothing, but we wanted to make sure they wasn't trying to do nothing to us. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, we'll deal with it lyrically. Rap is about battling. Like when people battle, they say some real disrespectful shit. You know what I mean? Like anything goes. So, you know, getting into a beef, like to me, like, once you're in front of a camera, once you on wax saying anything, it's over. It is no crime. It's just like why I will never have a problem with Vlad. I think he's a cop. What problem am I gonna have with a cop? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to do nothing that's going to jeopardize my freedom. I got into the music business so I could get out the street, not to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you cannot do anything illegal in public. You cannot say any crime you've ever committed on a record, especially if it's not past the statute of limitation. Can't do it. You can't shoot a nigga and then allude that you did or say you got like if I got problems with somebody and I'm in front of cameras, no one's gonna know I got problems with them. I'm not gonna ever be able to take the credit for whatever happens to that person. You know how stupid we look fighting over fucking songs? When have you heard of somebody getting shot over a rock and roll record or a country music record or opera? Why is this the only music that if somebody says something about somebody in the record, somebody got to get hurt? Because we're their entertainment. And it's a business model having us go to jail. It's like divide and conquer. Like I'm not having no problems with nobody over no records or just talk. Problems should happen over action, not an opinion of somebody. It's the dumbest shit in the world. Like, have you been to a rap battle? And people could say the shit they say and not fight and not have to get to the guns. The shit that, you know, Pac ain't say, but so much. It wasn't like they trying to hurt him. Nobody was, I've never, Nas, any battle we had, our intention was like, we see them, we killing them. That was never, ever in the program. It was exact opposite. But we weren't going to be soft and let nobody pause hurt us. But the point is to keep your crew out of jail. Like for me to send one of my friends to do something, to me, that's the most fucked up shit that you could do to someone you care about is to have them go risk their freedom for you. I would never send nobody to do no kind of work for me. I would never advise somebody to jeopardize their life. You know how much responsibility that is for a person? And then they got something on you forever. That's the way the world is working. Dopamine got everybody high. They get in front of a camera and they say anything. You know? Anything. They don't even care about the future. They be like, fuck it. I just don't know why culturally it only happens in our world and how that must look to the rest of the world.
And y'all try to confront Pac when he was in New York, right?
Yeah. We just wanted to ask him what the problem was. It wasn't like we wanted to hurt him. Like we was like, yo, like why? Like what the like I thought the whole shit with Biggie and them, I couldn't believe that people died over that shit. Couldn't believe it.
Do you remember where y'all tried to confront him at?
At the MTV Music Awards.
Yeah, that was a few days before he got shot in Vegas.
Maybe. It was the one where he had the walkie-talkies.
Yeah, he had the suit on with the walkie-talkie. Yeah, that was like the same week he got killed in Vegas or whatever.
Yeah, but like I said, it wasn't like it was just me and Jay. It wasn't like we was running with a crew or none of that. We were just gonna be like, yo, what's up? So it wasn't like, he was talking about us. We wasn't talking about him. So, he was coming into New York and we were probably going to be in the same place. So it was like, obviously we knew we were going to run into him. So we were like, yo, we might as well get to him before he get to us. So we were just trying to see like, yo, what was it? We were just trying to see what his temperature was. Is this rap or what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? That's all.
Why did Jay redo Pac, Me and My Girlfriend, knowing that him and Pac wasn't, on good terms?
I have no fucking idea. Because he had a girlfriend. To me, that was his introduction. He wanted everybody to know that homegirl was his girlfriend. That's how I looked at it. But I was at that point. I wasn't around him that much. Like when that record came out, I was in Europe. I watched the rough cut from like Paris or something. Yeah. Like at that once homegirl got in the picture, our relationship had evaporated. It was already gone. Like I said, he wasn't talking to Biggs for like a year. Him and Biggs weren't talking for like 2 years, a year before that. It might have been like 2 years they wasn't talking. It was crazy. What album was that on, Me and My Girlfriend?
The Gift and the Curse or whatever.
I wasn't nowhere near him for that. I don't even remember that album. I don't know a record on that album. I was out. Like after the Blueprint, I didn't even pay attention to the Black album. I was gone. Blueprint, I would say, was like the last album that I was any part of. I mean, I think after that, a lot of the essence of Roc-A-Fella was talking about our friendship. Once our friendship was over, there wasn't any more friendship to talk about. And, I had no interest in what he was saying anymore.
Had to remove yourself from the situation, man. I get it, man. I get it. Paper Soldiers. How did that movie come about? And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was Kevin Hart's first movie, right?
I discovered him. That was the first movie he was ever in. So, I was looking for comedians and I went to the club. I think I was with Rachel, my ex-wife or my wife at the time, and I was with Jay Black. And it was funny. So him and Smokey were there, and I told him I had a movie I wanted him to be in, and I put him in the movie the next week. I directed that. That was like my directorial debut. Or was State Property Part 2. I don't remember.
That's a pretty big deal, man. You pretty much discovered him.
No, I discovered Kev Hart. I also had him in Death of a Dynasty, his second movie.
Yeah, you did have him in there. Yeah, I remember him being in that.
And what's funny? He plays Puff. Go to American New and go on Death of a Dynasty and check it out. He plays Puff. He plays a couple of characters, but Puff is one of the characters he plays.
So what made you put him in the movie? You seen the potential?
Yeah. It's like saying, why did I, sign Jay-Z? Because he was funny. And I was developing Roc-A-Fella films. So, he was like, to me, it was like getting artists to be with the company. But yeah, I thought he was funny. He has that I knew that that he was safe, that white people were with him and he didn't mind being teased. People, bruh, I've killed them in movies, in fashion, in rock and roll. I don't think people can process that I did and do so much. Like me just casually saying I didn't only discover him, I directed the movie he was in. You understand what I'm saying? Like directing's not some easy thing. It's like art. I direct movies independently that end up in theaters, and I don't expect people to understand the value of that. But like a real filmmaker would be like amazed. They can't believe I do the shit I do and what I've done and how many movies I've made and how I've made certain movies. Like I've done movies with N.O.R.E. didn't have a script and that shit went theatrical. I'm nice. Like I could like as a creative, I'm like, yo, like Scorsese would have to see me. Like I put myself up there with them. I didn't go to school for any of the things that I do professionally. Zero. That's why this shit says Anunnaki. You see? Black aliens. And what you think is in the sky right now? You know what I'm saying? I'm right on point with the Anunnaki shit on. Like, I don't know how I be knowing the game, man.
You and Kevin, y'all still talk?
I mean, yeah, you don't help, but yeah, I'll be cutting Kev up.
What you mean by he don't help?
Like I'll be like, yo, could you he won't help me promote anything I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, to me, the amount of people that I actually put on, I should never be broke, ever in life. I should never have to fund nothing. I should never have to struggle. I should just look like it should just be an anonymous bag with money all the time. The amount of people whose lives I've changed. If they were like on it like that, I shouldn't even have to move. But it seems like the people that I help the most, they end up resenting me the most. I don't know why. Like I should never have to ask for nothing.
Yeah, you're right, man. You put a lot of people on, man. Nobody can front on that, man. Jay, Kanye, Kevin Hart, them three alone, man. Superstar names.
Lee Daniels, Cameron, Rachel Roy, like you say, it's a lot. I don't really know about Kevin, but most of them had to like do things that I don't respect to get where they had to go. You understand? Like where it's like they'll be ashamed. Like they've done things where I can't be around. Like just morally and like Kevin's choice of movies were like when he would say like, they asked me to be a producer on Soul Plane and I denied. I was actually offended. I was like, I'm not having another culture laugh at us to make money off it like that. And I remember the same day him telling me he took the part. And I was like, I wouldn't do that. But it's probably great for the career he wants. Like I'm a real snobby artist. Like I'm not like a pop artist. I'm vinyl. I'm not digital. I really respect the art of anything that I do. So like I know the cameras he got. I don't know what kind of lenses are those. Sony G Master. Yeah. So like I'm gonna know the camera. I'm gonna know the lens. Like I do all that. I break it all. I know how to break down the script, shot list. I know every job that everybody's supposed to be doing on the set, how much they should get paid. We just wrote 7 episodes of Honor Up on our own. Then we go and design like that, we design. Like I don't even have to leave my house to do the shit I do. It's because I'm good at a lot of things. And the reason why I'm good at it is because I really take the interest in figuring out how to do it respectfully. You know what I mean? Like everything is the art. You can't go into any vertical thinking that it's easy. It's disrespect to people that have studied their whole life to do it well.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell it's a passion of yours. But speaking of movies, right? N.O.R.E, he came out and made a comment about how you didn't pay him for Paid in Full.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. That was ridiculous to me. So again, me and N.O.R.E on the terms that in any one of those days in the last 20 years, if he thought he didn't get paid, then he could have talked to me about it. But I don't know about what the fuck he's talking about. So, for example, I did him a favor and I made up a part on the spot for him so he could be in Paid in Full to give him some burn. And Petey Crack was supposed to play El Plaga, but he ended up going to jail. And again, this is a situation where his big homie would not sign off on him, voted not to fuck with him, so wasn't embracing him at all, even though he had bought some reggaeton shit that was dope or whatever. So I was like, yo, come be with us. And I put him in the movie and gave him an opportunity. This is a person that never acted before. And whether he was in the movie or not, it would have probably went his course. It wasn't like he put asses in the seat. So I don't know if he got paid or didn't get paid. I don't remember. But if he wanted to get paid, I probably wouldn't have put him in it. If it was a problem, I'd be like, then don't be in it, bro. It was just like, it was for you to actually showcase your acting skills and be a part of the family. But I didn't need you really. But I appreciate what he did. But I just hate when people say things in front of a camera and be in front of me for 20 years and never say one thing, you know? And for anything that I ever did for him, I never, ever got paid. So being on Drink Champs, I never got paid for that. And I never thought I should get paid. Or, you know, there's a lot of what I wonder is like when people say that, I'm just curious to know if he's ever paid anybody that came on his show, and if somebody on his show would come back and be like, "Yo, I didn't get paid," and how he would feel. Especially if he was doing that person a favor. But again, I ain't got no problems with N.O.R.E. N.O.R.E. has my number, and until he got over there, until he started fucking with them, we never had no problems, and he would never say no shit like that. But this is a person that talks about me and asks questions about me on his platform. And he seems like sometimes he's asking people questions so that they could say some slick shit about me. And another guy that I never see promote America New or help me do or try to do anything to help me. But again, I don't take it personal. But I don't know. I think he was mad because when I went to his Drink Champs, he was trying to make me drink Ciroc the whole time. And I had my own liquor. And I'm like, why you keep trying to make me drink fucking Ciroc? And it's there on tape. And then like I finally said, all right, and I switched the drink on him. So if you look at the tape, I switch it. So he pours me a drink and then I go like that. And then he drinks it and he ends up stupid drunk, going crazy. So I'm like, yo, this nigga might have been trying to drug me. But either way, like we guys that snap and we're funny. So either way, in jokes, I would say that. But I do want to know, like, yo, why did you want me to drink Ciroc so much that day? And now you over there. And, it's like now all of a sudden I'm the villain. You was my man. I don't know what happened. It's like when you go over there, you got to make a choice. But he's still my man. I fuck with him. Watch it should be up there, or I can send it to you. He might have took it down. But watch that episode. Again, I believe there's a meeting and collectively people talk about narrative, like, yo, say you feel sorry for them, and then figure out things that they could say to combat the things I'm saying. I honestly believe that they're that petty. And I think that shit is corny. And then I was like laughing because in that same interview, pause, that Puff was like, yo, we don't party. We're fabulous and all that. This nigga Puff made this nigga like blow out some cupcakes and candles on a cupcake. And when I saw that shit, I was like, what the fuck is going on? So, that shit is funny to me. You know what I'm saying? If I were to do that shit, them niggas would be snapping. Like we funny niggas. You can't be funny and get mad when niggas be snapping. But if you're gonna blow out cupcakes, pause, you know what I'm saying? Niggas gonna be laughing at that shit on camera. You can't not laugh at that. So I'm not coming at him. It's not like, it's just like, bro, it's funny. Like, I don't know why niggas that's funny get so serious when I make jokes. Kev too. I caught Kev with some Uggs. This nigga been mad at me ever since. I don't get it, man. I don't understand that sometimes.
What you mean by that?
I always talk about this shit. It's one of the reasons why he act funny now. He snapped on Cam and I didn't like it. Cam called me. So I told Cam, when I catch this nigga, I'm going to heat this nigga up. And I just happened to catch him the next week in Barney's with some leotards on and some black Uggs. And I cut this nigga up and taped it and put it on the Instagram and, in front of his girl. So he was mad, I guess. I didn't know he would be mad. He's a comedian, but whatever.
When you say Uggs, you mean the boots that the females be wearing?
Google it. I'll show you. I should put it.
Yeah, I gotta see.
I put it up.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I'll show you. Look, I always got it on deck because nobody believed.
That's crazy. Ugg boots? Nah, there's no way he had that on, man.
How much you want back? Yo, Cam, if he ever bothers you again, Look at these Uggs right
Can I
now.
see your phone?
Don't you ever
see your
put
phone?
pressure on anybody in my crew
Can I see your
again.
phone?
When
Can-
you wearing these
can I see your
Uggs,
phone?
you got on Uggs.
Can I just see the phone?
Cam, you see him? You see him? Cam, you see him? Don't play with me.
Wow. Yeah, he got Uggs on with the fur on him.
So how am I supposed to laugh at that? You know, like I would, you know, it's like, and then all the shit that's going on right now, you know, so it's like nigga got you wearing Uggs and leotards, my nigga. Like, what's going on? That's my man. Tell the truth. Would you laugh if you was me? Would you be mad? Like, you shouldn't have been wearing Uggs and tights in the first place. If with a girl, like, that's what I'm. A lot of shit. You see, I be telling the truth, and that's why I be having receipts. So that's why they be mad with me, because I be saying shit. I be like, bro, I always got a camera on. Like, I ain't gonna say something unless I like forget. But on purpose, I'm never gonna like say some shit that's not true, I don't think. But I be trying to have the receipts, because a lot of shit I be saying be like, I see a lot of shit that people wouldn't believe, bro. Trust me. So I gotta tape it. That's crazy. That's nasty work. That's crazy. That's why I was like, what are you doing? Like, why do you have those on? You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to talk.
Right. And I know you got a lot of respect for Russell Simmons because of all the stuff he pioneered, like the fashion, the shoes, and
But, you know, at the time we looked up to him. He was the one that, you know, he was doing all the yoga, and I didn't want to do yoga, but I liked the girls that were around yoga. And, you know, he had Fat Farm, you know, he did all that shit. He was the one that was like, he broke cultural boundaries on the hangout. But again, I didn't, you know, it's crazy the way everything rolled out 20 years later, man. Like, if I would have ever heard that Russell would be in a hut, not a hut, but like on an island, and Puff would be behind bars, and Jay would be under the gun, and R. Kelly would be in jail, and Trump would be on his second term of being the president. It's just like, this is like, it's amazing. If I could rewind to like year 2000 and then fast forward, it would really be like Back to the Future crazy movie.
Are you happy to be independent, seeing everything that's going on right now?
What am I doing? I'm doing what I believe in. That's why you think I've sacrificed. Why you think I'm out in West Bubba trying to get away from everybody? Like, I don't want to be around none of that shit. I'm telling you, at 35, enough was enough. And that was 15, 20 years ago. That's 20 years ago, bro. Like 19, 18. But I've been done with it. It wasn't my cup of tea, bro. Like, I like being creative and I like doing things and all that, but not under those circumstances. Like, again, who would you rather be? Any one of those guys or me?
I'd rather be you right now.
So that means I made the right decision. After all these years, like, for me, I'm like, at least in a certain circle, I'm up. I did it right.
Speaking of Puffy, right? You think it's a wrap for him?
I don't know. I got to see them tapes. You know, pause. Like, everybody quiet. So, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about those situations at all. You know what I mean? But if any one of those situations are true, he got problems. But, you know, until then, he's going to have to do a bid before he goes to court. So whatever the accusations are, if he's innocent, I would be sick in jail for being innocent to have to wait for a trial. That's fucked up. But if he's not innocent, you know, can he get out of it? I don't know. I don't know what I feel like, you know, he's on the RICO. So that means a criminal enterprise. I haven't seen the enterprise that they're accusing yet. So I'm sure there's going to be a superseding indictment, and that'll have more names on it. And then that's when I don't know. Like, I don't really know what like, do you really know what he's on trial for? Sex trafficking. So I don't know what that looks like. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't know what the fuck he could be doing with baby oil. Like, I don't know. Pause. So, you know, Mhm. These are very weird accusations. Things that if I did know about, I'd probably be guilty of as well. I have no idea about that shit.
I mean, if they got R. Kelly in prison for what he did, what they're accusing Diddy of is a lot worse.
But there's like tapes of R. Kelly, and I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, all that shit, for some reason, all the people that are under the gun right now were people that I did not fuck with. I mean, let's just put that out there. So Harvey Weinstein, me and him did not get along. Me and Puff, we were not, we always had respect, but we were in two different complete hemispheres of reality at all times, but I still had a lot of respect for what he was doing as far as music and being relevant. But I was like, I would not do it that way. And with me and homie, R. Kelly, like and not one of those people could you say I'm aligned with at all. Like I might have started cool with him and ended up not cool with him because you understand what I'm saying? Like that's like bing, bing, that's like 4 or 5 in a row of people that I was like not cool with that are under the gun.
Was you and R. Kelly ever cool at any point?
Why? He's an R&B. I'm not an R&B. No disrespect to R&B because I'm cool with Tyrese. But we have these things. Like sometimes I'll be like, that's that R&B shit you doing. You know what I mean? I'm not R&B like that. I wasn't hanging out with no R&B. I just couldn't. I think the fact that Jay was fucking with him is what used to blow my mind more than anything. Like I feel like I don't know why he wants to fuck with this guy so much. Like why? I just never understood it. So I think it was just more me feeling awkward about the fact that I had to be around him on some level, but I wasn't around him. Like I never was around him. Like even when they, and it's, that not guilty, I wasn't like I came for the video. I was out. I wasn't a guy, and I think like we took pride, at least I did, and my crew, in not hanging out with famous people or famous men. Like it was gonna be, if you was gonna be famous, it had to be a female. But I wasn't trying to be up under no other famous dudes. I didn't think that was like, I'm not gonna hang out with you just because you're famous. And I don't like dudes that much. So I was like, why would I have no reason. Like what I'm gonna do? Go to the studio and hang out with it? Like I don't do that.
Right. Did Jay know about what he did to Aaliyah?
Did he know that everybody knew R. Kelly married Aaliyah at 15? Everybody knew that. So was the conversation had like, yo, how you gonna go and do something with this dude? Hell yeah, that conversation was had. You think I'm soft? Pause, like I'm punk? That didn't happen. I was like, yo, how you gonna do a project with a nigga that raped my motherfucking girl? We had the conversation. Why would you still with a nigga that with someone that raped your girl? Would you still do anything with that person? So why would anyone expect me to? Like that's what I don't understand. I'd be like, yo, people be like, why? Well, just that alone. There's a lot of other shit, but that alone was like the nail in the coffin for me. I was out of there. I was gone. Trust me. After that, I don't want to be nowhere near. I knew that shit was gonna blow up. I didn't want no parts of that shit. Like I was like, I don't want no parts. That's not good money. So I was done with him for that.
How did Jay respond when you confronted him about it?
You know how he is. He's like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Damn.
What I would love is for someone to ask him, like, yo, why would you still do a project with that man, knowing that he raped Aaliyah? That should be the question. Period. It shouldn't be for me. It should be the question posed to him. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. But that right there was bridge burnt. But I just was like respecting her, respecting the business. But I was I moved out of Rock. Like if y'all look at, like I left Roc-A-Fella. It wasn't that I got kicked out of Roc-A-Fella. I left Roc-A-Fella. You understand what I'm saying? The option was there for me to stay. I did not want no parts of it. I was done. I left Rockware. Think about it, bro. I said, fuck all the money, all this shit. I'm out. Now think about a lot of men would not have made that choice, but any real man would have to make that choice. I was left no choice. He gave me an offer I could not refuse. Like we done. You know what I'm saying? You gonna fuck with this man, you knew he raped my girl, you was in love with her. How could you do that? It's obviously you want me to feel away. Like it wasn't enough money for us to do that. So I was done. I thought I was cool about it. Like I was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm just be out. And then I thought I was cool about it. I really did.
So this is after Jay tried to talk to Aaliyah, but she chose you over him.
You know the timeline, bro. He did the project when she died, which was even more disrespectful. And I'm not getting over that. But it's not fighting. It's just, yo, go over there, I go over here. That's what it is. But it doesn't mean hate on me and f my money up, but apparently it did.
Damn, man. I hope one day y'all can talk it out, man. But before we end the interview, man, I just hate to hear that, man. To be honest with you, man. But before we end the interview, let the people know what you got going on. I heard about your art gallery too. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, again, after Roc-A-Fella, I went and tried to be the CEO of the Brooklyn, the electric car company, before Tesla came out. And then I decided to, I did this project with the Black Keys, and it was a rock and roll project with rappers like Mos Def and RZA and Raekwon, Real Fly Q-Tip. And after that, I just kind of took the building over that the car company was in about a year after it shut down. And it was a building. So like after Roc-A-Fella, I never had an office again. I always had buildings. I couldn't do offices. So it's funny, as an independent, my office was a building. It was bigger than any office I had when I wasn't independent, when I was corporate. And it had 3 floors. The bottom floor was the gallery. Then the second floor, you could call the third floor, was where the television network was. And in the basement was where I had print and press and rock and roll club. And, I made records with every single artist that I wanted to. Jay Electronica, Mos Def, every artist, and, it was like you had to really kind of be in the know to do that. I don't think anything was iller than that period of time. And think about how I'm saying it. You're like, yeah, right. Do me a favor. So you have context. Go on American New, right? And we went to Jamaica. Because also what we used to do was, after I opened the art gallery, we used to travel and open up art galleries in China and Thailand, all over the world. And it's all documented. And that was like me healing from the music business. And that's when everybody was saying I lived in a shelter. It was crazy, And at the time, Rachel Roy was $100 million company, and nobody was acknowledging it. They didn't even understand it. So I was kind of like, I was able to like not have to do so much and be so accessible for a little while and just focus on being creative. But anyway, appreciate the interview, bro. And everybody go check out America New. Type in America, type in NU. January 10th, Prince of Detroit on BET. Check that out. But we got a rock and roll joint with Freeway. You can watch it. My point was, if you go to Blue Rock and you go through it, you'll see the making of it, of at least the first single and the video. But I'm doing different shit, all new. So new glasses, new clothes. I ain't got my sneakers on. I got new sneakers, new television network, new label, new television shows, new movies, everything new. So we could talk a lot about the past, but a lot of people that talk about the past ain't got shit new to show. I got a bunch of new shit, everything new.